The reason why, if Arsenal miss out on the Champions League or Premier League, is right in front of you. Especially the Brazilian fraud, Gabriel Martinelli, who's fallen off in his mid to early 20s. Martinelli, man, one of the most pragmatic wingers I've ever seen. There's no way we went from Alexis Sanchez to Gabriel Martinelli, lads. I'm telling you, I've seen more quality from Theo Walcott after injuries, after Arsenal, than I've seen with Martinelli the past 2 years, and I've officially given up. I heard Al Nassr was calling. Al Nassr, we should have picked up the phone and shipped him off. I would have taken him to the airport. I would have flown from North America to Europe and taken that man to the airport. I would have done it in a heartbeat. I would have even flown with them to Saudi. That's how tired I am of Martinelli. And throughout preseason, he looks even worse. But I'll tell you this right now. This is literally me watching Martinelli week in and week out. I understand Trossard's in this too. But the thing about Trossard is this. Trossard, off the bench, is not too shabby. I'll admit that. Not too shabby. Because he's a great super sub. When he starts, he's useless. But when he comes off the bench and the players have already played 60, 70 minutes, this man tends to turn up, man. He's genuinely a great super sub. And honestly, he's 30 years of age. I would be down to keep him for 2 more years to 3 more years and just have him come off the bench as a left winger. We have Madueke already back up for Saka, but the backup of who I'll be telling you right now. So, people are saying Martinelli for 90 million. Any club that's willing to give up 90 million for Martinelli is giving up 100 racks for a 1995 Accord. Beat up. Salvage. All right? That's genuinely what it is. So if anybody in their insane mind thinks Martinelli for 90 million and offer that, and Arsenal don't capitalize and don't, hold Martinelli's family captive if he doesn't accept the deal, I don't know what the club's doing, because 90 million for Martinelli is absolutely, shameless. It would be a better deal. Genuinely, it compares to the Hazard to Real Madrid. I understand it was a great signing at the time, but it's gonna look like the Hazard to Real Madrid, where it's 100 million for a waste of time, because that's what Martinelli would be here for 90 million. And get Rodrigo also. Woo, man, that's answer to my prayers. That is when God is proving how good he is. If Rodrigo came in instead of Martinelli, that is literally like going to a dealership in a 1995 Accord yet again and coming out with a BMW M3 M4 0 mileage, perfect condition, mint. Instead of having car trouble every 60 miles. You're literally gonna be in luxury, mate. You're gonna have 2 luxuries, man. Saka and Rodrigo. Trossard off the bench, because look at Martinelli. He's literally living off this season. 15 goals in the 22-23 season. We all thought this guy was going to be great. And then at the right age, man, of 24 years old, this man's retired. 6 goals, 8 goals, 4 assists every time. He's consistent with the assists, but it's banter consistency. I'm telling you, this man has literally fallen off. I'm selling him for 50 million. 50 million if the offer comes in straight away. I don't care if it's Chelsea. I don't care if it's Man United. I don't even care if it's Tottenham. Send that brother away, because that team's going to get significantly worse. I'm Martinelli debates. I've lost them all. There was but Trossard, here, very consistent. Many times he's been off the bench. 8 goals, 7 assists. Take that any day, especially if you're the backup to Martinelli. 12 goals, 1 assist last year. This guy's very clutch off the bench. Like I'm saying, when he comes off, I've seen many times Trossard come in and make a difference, score a goal, been the difference on many times getting us 3 points. He's 30 years of age. There's been offers for 20 million from the likes of Fenerbahce, but to be honest, I'd rather take the loss on this guy, keep him for 2-3 more years, lose him on a free, because we got him on a cheap deal either way, but capitalize on Martinelli, 24 years of age. He's still getting called up for the national team. I'm saying 50 million is a pretty fair deal for all parties included, no matter who it is. But Rodrigo is going to be very unrealistic. I'm not going to lie. Apparently, he only wants Liverpool. He'd rather stay at Madrid. We're kind of third fiddle here, Typically, rich men have their wife and then they have their side chick, or we're not even the wife or the side chick, we're the secretary. We're like, if all else fails, we're broke, we're in an apartment, all else fails, my man needs it. secretary will come in, and that's basically what Arsenal are in the Rodrigo situation. If Real Madrid boot this man and don't want to play him at all, Liverpool get Isak and don't want to get Rodrigo no more, then it's going to be, oh my God, you know what? I'll settle for you. That's the type of deal we're looking for, which, us as a secretary, we'll take that. We'll take that. That's an upgrade, man. 1-room studio in New York City to a big mansion. My man, I'm taking that any day of the week. But, this is the more realistic one. Eze, coming in at left wing. Apparently, Arsenal are struggling to get to that transfer clause. But what Crystal Palace and Arsenal are working on is some way to having a little bit money up front and the rest being in installments. To be honest, I'm taking anything but Martinelli and Trossard not starting. Because I'm telling it's just that one problem. Because every time I'm watching preseason and I'm watching the past 3 years of Arsenal, yeah, we got a striker we seen him for 10 minutes, but you could put in prime Ronaldo, R9, Drogba, Henry, anybody you want, Luis Suarez. I don't care who it is. Pele, reincarnate that man. Zlatan, I really don't care. At the end of the day, you're gonna see the ball played to Saka. We might see some creativity. We might see something get done. But he's going to get double teamed. And if we do a switch to Martinelli, that man is going to look like a fool out there. Like a blind man trying to dribble a ball. That's what I see with Martinelli. But with Eze, he's a risk factor. He's an X factor. You don't know what he's going to do when he gets the ball. With Martinelli, head down, going to maybe try to dribble through you. He can't just pass it back. Very robotic, man. He's looking like Grealish after Guardiola. I don't even understand. They told me Mikel Arteta was the next Guardiola. Well, he's really put the Grealish effect on Martinelli. 22-23 was something special. Ever since that, he's blue-balled us. Straight up. And I'm absolutely tired of it. I've given up on Martinelli. Genuinely, this is the year for Mikel Arteta to show us a trophy. And if you're going to put your job on the line, because if you fall short from a Premier League and a Champions League, there will be immense pressure and reasoning for him to be sacked. But bring in Eze, have Trossard back up, sell Martinelli for 50 million, and technically you're only spending in grand total of 67 million, a 17.5 million fee out of your pocket. The rest is provided by the Martinelli sale. It literally makes sense. Trossard, he can stay. You bought him for cheap. Martinelli, you brought him in for very cheap as well. But getting 50 million, that's going to be great for PSR. Great profit. He's 24 years of age, but he's looking like he's 35. I see more versatility from Cristiano Ronaldo in that friendly against Toulouse than from Martinelli the past 2 years. Cristiano Ronaldo is 40 years old. I'm telling you right now, Martinelli's finished. I'll go check out you could go to West Ham. Jared Bowen is a better player. That's just top of my head. Fulham. I'm telling you right now, Reece Nelson, who's back in the squad, he's even showed in preseason more than Martinelli. It's just, Morgan Rogers at Villa, twice the player Martinelli is. If I go to Tottenham, I'm not 17th place, mate. We don't even talk about that. But you go to Brentford, Wisa. He shows more versatility. It's just the list goes on and on and on how bad this guy is. So I'm tired of it. Martinelli will literally cost Arteta his job. If I'm Arteta, ship you out, man. My employment is way more worth than whatever home you got in London, mate. Start shopping for homes in Saudi, man. Whoever gives me a best offer. Because to be honest, the only team in Europe that really might come knocking is Milan if Leao is dealt. And if Leao isn't dealt to Arsenal, I don't know what other club's really going to be in for him. Chelsea signing every winger possible. But Arsenal, man, please get rid of Martinelli. Bring in Eze. Bring in Leao. Bring in Max Dowman, full-time left winger. I don't care, but just not Martinelli, man.